It was in the oath I took that I would, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I could not take the office without taking the oath, nor was it my view that I might take an oath to get power and break the oath in using that power. Abraham Lincoln. I want to talk about the NDAA. This is the National Defense Authorization Act. This is an annual bill that passes through Congress and signed into law by the President. It appropriates funds to the Department of Defense. And like any other bill, it's amazingly complex. There's a tremendous amount of sections and amendments involved with this bill. And for the first time in 2012, we saw some language that many people have said could lead to the indefinite detention of American citizens on U.S. soil. Now, this was debated in the Congressional Record and by the administration. So don't think that this was just a mistake. This was something that on the floor of Congress and in the White House was talked about. After all the debate was done, the language didn't change, and the bill was passed by Congress and signed into law by the President. And when the President signed it into law, he actually issued a signing statement, and I actually want to read that for everybody. I want to clarify that my administration will not authorize the indefinite military detention without trial of American citizens. Indeed, I believe doing so would break with our most important traditions and values as a nation. My administration will interpret Section 1021 in a manner that ensures that any detention it authorizes complies with the Constitution, the laws of war, and all other applicable law. Sounds great, right? But what's funny is that signing statements have no legality to them. The President just signed this into law, which says you can detain American citizens indefinitely. So basically, a signing statement's a promise that I won't do it. But what I find even more interesting is looking back at the Congressional Record. There's actually was an initial statement included in the bill, and I want to read this for you. This was said by Senator Levin. The initial bill reported by the committee included language expressly precluding the detention of citizens or lawful resident aliens of the United States on the basis of conduct taking place within the United States, except to the extent permitted by the Constitution of the United States. The administration asked that this language be removed from the bill. So I'm confused. The administration asked that language be removed from the bill that would prevent an American citizen from being indefinitely detained. Congress complied and removed that language. Then the President signs the bill, and in his signing statement says, I'm kind of concerned because this bill says I can detain people, but I just want to let you know I'm not going to do it. What's going on? I mean, what are we supposed to believe? Which statement? The one that happens behind closed doors that says, hey, remove this language, or this public statement that says, hey, I'm not going to do this? Now let's fast forward to the end of 2012, and the 2013 NDAA passed Congress, and in early 2013 was signed into law by the President. And nowhere in his signing statements did he talk about anything regarding indefinite detention. But many people on both sides of the aisle have said that the vague language included in the 2013 NDAA still could lead to the indefinite detention of American citizens. Now, when this was going through Congress, there were several senators and members of Congress that disagreed with this and tried to change this language, and it was the Feinstein-Lee Amendment. And I want to read for you a section of the Feinstein-Lee Amendment. An authorization to use military force, a declaration of war, or any similar authority shall not authorize the detention without charge or trial of a citizen or lawful permanent resident of the United States apprehended in the United States, unless an act of Congress expressly authorizes such detention. So this amendment was passed by the Senate, and it was removed by the House before the House voted on it, and the President signed the NDAA into law 2013 without any Feinstein-Lee Amendment included. What's interesting, I think, when you're looking at the debates that were going on in Congress and with the administration, is they seem to be debating over who has the right to indefinitely detain American citizens on U.S. soil. And I'm sitting here looking at this saying, I don't think either of them have the right to detain American citizens on U.S. soil. That's what we have a Constitution for. Our rights to due process are protected in the Constitution. But they're going to tell you that, well, these are wartime powers we're talking about. But we haven't declared war since World War II. Oh, but we're at war with terror. We're at war with an ideology. When is this war going to ever end? Is terror going to hold up a white flag? For this duration of this endless war, we're going to suspend our civil liberties? This is absurd. So the same government that can indefinitely detain you is the same government that's going to label you an enemy combatant without having to go in front of a judge and prove any amount of evidence. So what does it mean to be labeled enemy combatant? I mean, what is the definition of that? Am I an enemy combatant for making a video exercising my First Amendment right? Or for you defending your Second Amendment right? I mean, these are very vague terms. And this is a concern. This is why we have a Constitution. It protects us. These people take an oath to preserve and defend the Constitution. This is an oath that all public officials take. This is a very similar oath that our men and women in uniform take. And our politicians send them to go and do a job. And some of them come home. Some of them come home hurt. And some of them don't come home at all. And they die defending the Constitution and upholding the oath that they took. We're not asking our politicians to die for their oath. We're asking them to just live by their oath. To those who argue we would never use indefinite detention against innocent American citizens, I ask you to not look too far into the past. In 1942, FDR issued Executive Order 9066, which authorized the detention of 120,000 people of Japanese descent living in the United States. Of the 120,000 people placed in internment camps, 2/3 were American citizens. That's 80,000 American citizens protected by the United States Constitution, who might argue that a promise to never detain innocent American citizens is an empty promise indeed.